Hey everyone, this is Adam with Psychedelic Invest.com. I hope you guys are doing well this week, especially given the current market conditions, which have been pretty rough, to say the least. In today's episode, I'm going to be covering GH Research, ticker symbol GHRS. So GH Research is a really interesting company to me because, uh, well, as you guys know from my past videos, because they're mainly focused on DMT, and I hold DMT in very high regard when it comes to psychedelics that are psychedelics for therapeutic purposes. I think DMT, so this is just my opinion, it has the highest ceiling therapeutically compared to a lot of other psychedelics, and it has to do with two specific reasons. One reason is because DMT has such a short duration, so it's very easy to fit in to your day. So let's create a hypothetical situation here. Let's say we have DMT clinics. You make your appointment. It's 8 in the morning. You show up there at 8:30. It's very likely you will be out of that clinic by 9:30, for example, because DMT is, give or take, a 15-minute experience. So that's just, I've said this before in other videos. It's just something I wanted to reiterate. It's really important to think about psychedelic therapy in a very practical way. And it's very easy to fit DMT into one's day because of the short duration. Now, onto the therapeutic benefits of DMT. They can last months off of just one breakthrough experience. So that to me is extreme. That's what makes me extremely optimistic about DMT. Now, to this company, GH Research, who is primarily focused on DMT, they have two versions. They have an inhaled version of 5-MeO DMT and an injectable version of 5-MeO DMT. So they've already showed promising results in the early stages of their trials. But on top of that, their financials look really good. So let's dig into those. So in regards to GH Research's financials. So this is from March 28th, 2022. So it's recent, but it's not it's very likely they have an earnings report coming out soon that's going to be much more recent, obviously. And when that comes out, I will do a video covering their most recent earnings report. But this is what I have to work with right now. So in terms of cash, we have $276.8 million. So that is nothing to scoff at. That is a significant amount of cash. And there's not going to be any revenue generated here. They are early stage biotech company. Nothing has come to market yet for them, so they will not be generating any revenue. Now let's take a look at the net loss. So we have a net loss of $9.2 million. Now this is compared to $446,000 the year before. So that's a huge increase in net losses. But with that said, it does give GH Research a runway of about 2.5 years, give or take. If depends how things go, if there are delays, how aggressively they're growing the company, stuff like that. But we have a runway of about 2.5 years. So like I've said in other videos, in biotech time, 2.5 years is tremendous. So from a financial perspective, GH Research is in a really good place. It's just going to be about them showing the efficacy of 5-MeO DMT. And for most of us in the psychedelic community, we do have experiences with some of these psychedelics. So from my own personal experience, like I said, I hold DMT in the highest regard. I think the therapeutic benefits cannot be understated when compared to the duration of the effects of the drug itself. So for a 15-minute psychedelic experience, you can reap what could be, let's say, a month conservatively of anxiety and depression relief. And that's huge. It's huge. So I really like these companies that are focusing on DMT, and GH Research happens to be one of them. And they happen to have amazing financials. So I would say they're definitely a very, very promising company to take a look into. And if I was, I am obviously an investor in some capacity. I am an investor, but not in GH Research, in the psychedelic sector. But I would say that they are worth taking a look at. And they, I'm just surprised they're flying so far under the radar compared to some of these other psychedelic companies, especially given their financials. Um, Now, when it comes to 5-MeO DMT, I'll just give you guys a brief comparison to NN-DMT, the more common DMT that people are exposed to, I guess, or it's just much easier to. It's so it's just much easier. So NN-DMT is much more common than 5-MeO DMT. 5-MeO DMT is just not as common as NN-DMT, just facts. So with NN-DMT, so NN-DMT is the active ingredient in ayahuasca. So NN-DMT, it is similar to 5-MeO DMT in terms of the duration, but in terms of the psychedelic effects that it produces, it's different. I'm not going to get into the comparison of 5-MeO to NN-DMT, but I will say this, that they both have tremendous therapeutic benefits, and they both last about 15 minutes. So now we'll take a look at the charts. There isn't going to be much to look at right now because of the tremendous amount of selling off that's happening in the market given the macroeconomic conditions. So we'll briefly look at the charts, and that will be the video for today. But yeah, I do think GH Research is definitely worth taking a look at, especially if you are optimistic or bullish on DMT in general, because once again, they have thrown everything into 5-MeO DMT, and I like that. It makes their pipeline a little less diversified, but in regards to in regards to somebody who is a psychedelic investor, if they want exposure to DMT, I think GH Research would be one of the better choices to gain exposure to DMT, specifically 5-MeO DMT. All right. So here is the chart. Not looking great. But if you look at any psychedelic stock right now, let's do a tie, not a tie, a tie. I've been pronouncing it wrong, but that I will try to do better on that. So I got corrected by someone in my one of my other videos. So a tie, and let's do MindMed, and let's do Cybin. All right. So I'm going to show the other guys first, and then I'll show GHRS. So look, we got Cybin trading at around 52 cents. We have MindMed trading under $1 now. And we have a tie at $4.01. So the reason I'm showing you guys this is just to basically illustrate that this is a market-wide thing or a sector-wide situation, because a lot of growth plays are really suffering right now, and biotech plays specifically, because most of them are not generating revenues, are going to hurt even more. So now we have GHRS. So GHRS is holding pretty good at $12.09. It's going to, the volatility is going to remain here. But I will say this. When these prices that some of these companies are trading at, they don't make sense compared to the cash on hand they have. So, for example, a tie, and also GHRS at this point too. Considering the amount of cash they have on hand, like some of these plays are extremely oversold. So we can take a look at the RSI. of some of these plays. So RSI is a good way to measure how oversold or overbought a stock is. So the closer to 30 you are, that means you're more oversold, and the closer to 70 you are, that means it's very overbought, meaning that so if, let's say for example, a stock is going to have a RSI of 70, you can surmise that things are getting kind of frothy and it could be a good time to sell. And just like that, if you see a company that's trading, their RSI is closer to 30, it can help you kind of assess whether it could be a time to jump in or not. So with GHRS, their RSI is literally at 24.35. So, but I will say this: the volume behind GHRS is not great. And once again, I think it's because it's one of the lesser known psychedelic biotech companies. But if just judging off the RSI, they're extremely oversold. Now, I would say this: if you're looking to enter or start a position with GHRS, I think it would be best to kind of assess the macroeconomic conditions at play and decide and kind of jump in when things look like they're going to reverse, or to jump in with a 5-year time horizon so that you're not stressed out by the volatility that some of these plays will bring in the short to midterm. So yeah, that's kind of my assessment of GHRS. I think they're very interesting. I love that they're working with 5-MeO DMT, and I love the amount of cash they have on hand when you take their cash burn into account, or their net losses into account. So I would say 100% worth taking a look at, and if you're optimistic or bullish on DMT and want exposure to it, this could be a company that can provide that exposure at a pretty. They can provide that exposure while also having some very, very solid financials. So that's the best way to say it. And yeah, so that's the video for today. I really hope you guys liked it.